How's everybody? For those of you that don't know me, my name's Andy Pollack. I come from Broward County, Florida. I'm embarrassed to say that. And my daughter, Meadow, my beautiful daughter, Meadow, was murdered in Parkland, Florida, a little over a year ago. But it's nice here. I take this opportunity out to come here and be with a bunch of Jewish Republicans that I appreciate. So when Matt called me and offered me this opportunity, I jumped on it because I wanted to come here and speak to you all, and also I knew the president was going to be here, and I was going to come here and warm up everybody for the president. So there's three reasons why I wanted to come here. One is I'm really proud of my Jewish heritage. Number two, I wanted to explain why we as Jews and Republicans need to support President Trump in the 2020 election. And number three, I really despise Democrats. I knew you'd like that one. A couple of weeks ago, we celebrated Purim, and I was reminded of listening intensely in 2015 to Prime Minister Netanyahu when he pled to Congress. He compared the story of Purim, when the future of the Jewish people were threatened, to how the Iran deal would pave the way to a nuclear weapon and possibly the destruction of Israel. I heard Netanyahu plea, and with my love for Israel, I knew I had to get involved. I was disappointed that liberal Jews could support signing this threat to Israel. Up until then, I never was involved in politics, and I never even voted. But I listened to President Trump say during his debates that he would end the Iran deal. I voted for the first time ever when I voted for President Trump, primarily because he was going to end that Iran deal. Since that time, I've become increasingly more disappointed in Democratic Jews. America has never seen a Democratic Party so enthralled by anti-Semitism, yet many American Jews seem blinded to it. The good news is we've never had a greater friend in the White House than Donald J. Trump. It's really a disgrace that so many Jews can't tell the difference between friend and foe. But we in this room, we can. So now, I want to play a little game with you all, because it's my job to fire this crowd up before the president comes out. So when I raise my right hand, I want everyone in this room to yell Democrat. When I raise my left hand, I want you to yell Trump. So let's practice. You ready? Pretty good. Okay, here we go. What party promoted a deal that would have allowed our worst enemies, Iran, to acquire a nuclear bomb and possibly annihilate Israel? Nice, like that. Who is the president that tore up the deal and treats our enemies as his enemies? Who declared Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights? Who moved the embassy to Jerusalem? What party showed us they are literally incapable of condemning anti-Semitism? Who do we have to do everything for to keep in the White House? I believe we all get it, right? I was never political before my daughter was murdered last year at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. But I'm going to tell you, because so many people ask me, and I didn't even put this in my speech, but I'm going to tell you because everyone asks me, Andy, how do you do this? How do you get up there day in and day out and fight for my daughter? And I'm going to tell you why. Still tough for me. It's over a year. But I love my daughter so much. And for my daughter to die in vain, I'm just not going to let it happen. So I could have took the easy path when my daughter was murdered, like a majority of parents and these unethical Democrats in Broward, and just blamed guns. But I took another path. I wanted to know the facts. I wanted to know how my daughter got murdered. I put her in that school, my precious, beautiful daughter. How did this happen to her? And I wanted to know why. So quickly became clear that a multitude of failures came together to create and enable the killer. Broward County Sheriff, you can guess what party he belongs to. He had politicized his department. I remember him when Hillary Clinton came to Broward, and he was dressed in his uniform, and he went campaigning all around county with Hillary Clinton. I knew that we were in trouble when I saw that. His department, if you could believe it or not, went to the killer's house over 40 times without making an arrest, which allowed the killer to be able to pass a background check and purchase a rifle. 40 times they went to his house. We found out that Obama-era leniency policies implemented by left-wing education bureaucrats let the shooter slip through the cracks. And what's crazy is, when the families in Broward County recognized this and they wanted accountability, local politicians in Broward County attacked us. Not only me, other Democratic parents, for wanting accountability. They called us racists for wanting to hold the Broward Superintendent, Robert Runcie, accountable. And I know you're going to get this right. What party does Robert Runcie belong to? Right. The media and national Democratic politicians didn't care about the families or why it happened. To them, my daughter's murder was just an opportunity to promote their gun control agenda. And honestly, the liberal Jews in Broward County were okay with it. But Republicans were different. Rick Scott, my good friend Rick, you want to talk about a guy who's not a career politician? That's my friend Rick Scott. Really cares, businessman, and he loves his country. I asked him, we were going somewhere in his campaign. I go, Rick, why do you, Rick's got grandkids. He's well-to-do. He worked hard his whole life. I go, Rick, why do you want to run for Senate? Tell me why. You got your grandkids. Look what I've been through. I lost my daughter. Why do you want to do it? He goes, Andy, because I love my country. And that's Senator Scott. Ron DeSantis, Governor Ron. I became very friendly with Ron DeSantis during his campaign, and we still talk all the time. Ron ran on accountability when I met Ron for the first time in Broward County. I never met him before. He goes, I want to hold public officials accountable. And when Ron told me that, I said, I'm going to be with Ron DeSantis. And Ron made promises. First month in office, he removed that sheriff for all the families and me. What he also did, Ron DeSantis, what you guys won't know, but I know it because I live it, and I live it every day without my daughter. Ron tried to remove that, I wish I could really call him what I feel like it, but that unethical piece of garbage, Superintendent Runcie, he tried to remove him, but he couldn't remove him because he wasn't elected, he was appointed. So you know what Ron DeSantis does? He drops a nuclear bomb in Broward County with a grand jury investigation for the families. That's what he did. Ron DeSantis also signed an executive order looking into those Obama-era leniency policies in Florida that were partially responsible for my daughter in that massacre that day. That's what Ron DeSantis did. And President Trump, you won't hear about this in the media, but I know it personally because we've been in touch ever since that happened to my daughter. He invited my family and myself to the Oval Office, the president, where we sat down and we spoke about what happened. And I recommended to the president, I think you should put a commission together to look into school safety for the whole country. And when I said that to him, the guy really cares. He's a really righteous guy. And he looks over at Hope Hicks and he goes, I like that idea, Andy. And that's what he did. He put in a federal school safety commission that was very intense. What a great president. You don't hear about that on the fake news, what he did. And what meant to me so much in that commission that he put together, he repealed the Obama-era federal leniency policies that were partly responsible for that massacre. He didn't get any credit for it. He never gets credit he deserves. But let me tell you, because I know this personally, he doesn't care about that. He cares about doing the righteous thing no matter what the critics say. A lot of Jews don't understand this, but us here in this room, we get it. We understand who our enemies are and who our friends are. And we all understand that we never had a greater friend in the White House than President Trump. The Democrats refuse to work together to benefit this country. They would prefer America to fail rather than see President Trump make gains in trade, immigration, and foreign policy. They refuse to be satisfied even after the Russian collusion Mueller investigation, which proved to be bullshit. I understand on a smaller scale what the president deals with, because I dealt with these same unethical Broward Democrats, just like he deals with them in D.C. Most of them Jewish in Broward, and they suffer from the same delusional thinking. Rather than learn from the failures that allowed my daughter's death, they cover for each other, they hide the truth, and they spin the narrative to gun control. Right now, our country stands at a precipice. If President Trump doesn't remain in the White House in 2020, our country is in danger of turning into a corrupt, dysfunctional Broward County. And I don't want to let that happen. With the Democrats in office, the level of anti-Semitism will increase. It is up to us now, just as it depended on Esther and Mordecai in the story of Purim, to once again safeguard our future. Thank you.